yeah. It's been a minute.
It has.
Our first episode of 2024, and notice I didn't say football podcast.
That is correct.
Because for the love of all sports, we just decided that we're just going to continue, at least starting this year, just going to continue talking about sports in general and try and keep it going.
At least for this one.
Yeah. So welcome, guys.
Let's hit it with some football first.
Should we hit him with some news, some football news?
Okay.
On the docket of news, Mike Evans signs a 2-year contract with the Bucks.
Good job, Tampa Bay. Keep the man around. He's been a good Buck for his whole career.
Amazing player to have watched. Is it
10 years.
How many is it? Coming up 10?
He's already done 10 because he has 10 years of 1,000 yards receiving.
Amazing. Probably future Hall of Famer we are watching.
I'd say that you can pretty much stamp that because he's got a Super Bowl, so you could probably stamp that one.
Yeah, and always kind of just been a class act, like off the field too. Like I very much admire Mike Evans and his work ethic throughout the seasons.
Yeah, he's always been a really good player. I have nothing bad to say about him.
Yeah, so I believe it's a 2-year, $25 million per, and I think $30-ish million is guaranteed, if I read that right.
Congrats to him.
Yeah. So, celebrations obviously in the Mike Evans camp. Another piece of news: Russell Wilson is going to be released very soon.
That one's fun. That's it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up this offseason.
Yeah, so potentially he's like the best. He could be the best quarterback option that may not even have a job.
Yeah, like I mean, after Kirk, you got probably. I imagine teams might favor Fields over Russ just because of age and possible upside. Just because you look at Fields and you say, how bad was Chicago's offense the first couple of years he was there? So maybe it's not all his fault that he didn't do that well. So you could make an argument there. So probably teams would favor Fields over Russ. But after that, there's really not much else on the market that says, go in another direction besides Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking off air here just a few minutes back, and like Russell Wilson to the Falcons? Russell Wilson to the Vikes. There's Fields, like there's Caleb is in this kind of involved in this whole mix if you really think about it from an NFL standpoint, and this offseason is going to get juicy.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens over the next month and a half, like leading up to the draft. When free agency hits, that's going to, a few dominoes fall right there, and then after that, we'll kind of see what follows suit. It feels to me like Cousins right now is heading to ATL when just a couple days ago it felt like Atlanta was going to trade for Fields and he was going to go quote unquote home. But if Atlanta goes all in for Cousins, that's going to raise the stock for Kyle Pitts, Drake London. Bijan will probably fare better because of the passing prowess that will now be there. So that would really elevate that whole Atlanta offense, and it would make them a top contender, really.
It almost feels like Atlanta holds like that magical puzzle piece.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Are they gonna? What kind of contract would they give Kirk? And would it entice him to come over? And when does that deal get signed? It almost like feels like that's the first. Atlanta holds the first domino.
Yeah, and I think that would be immediately, like right when free agency opens. That would be like right away, boom. I don't know that Kirk Cousins would give the Vikings a hometown discount unless the dollars were close. But if the dollars are not close, I feel like the Vikings have a number, and they've drawn a line in the sand that says this is the number we want you back at. If you don't want to accept that number, then you're more than welcome to explore free agency, and I think that's what he is doing. So
Yeah, I bet you the Vikes are like around the 20 mil per mark. And
oh, I think it's higher than that.
You think it's higher?
I do. I think that they're willing to go probably 35, maybe 40.
maybe you're right. So is Atlanta? Are they ready to break the bank? Like,
But so here's the other piece of that puzzle, though. I think that the Vikings only want him for one year of guarantees and 2 years, with team control, and then that's it though. And I think Kirk wants 3 years, and so I think whoever wants to take on his contract or give him a contract, they have to give him that security of a 3-year deal. And so that's what he is looking for.
yeah, Kirk is definitely holding all the cards.
Yeah, well, he is at this point. But so here's the other thing. If Atlanta moves in a different direction, if they don't want to do 3 years, because Kirk is 35 years old and he's coming off an Achilles injury. So other teams are not going to be so willing to dish out a 3-year contract either, right? So that's once you start eliminating teams, there's not that many left. And if the Vikings can just sit tight and wait and see if anyone truly has a 3-year deal ready and waiting for him. And if they don't, maybe he comes back.
I haven't really thought about it till like today, since we got the Russell Wilson news, but I could almost picture Wilson on the Vikes.
Being the stopgap between the next guy and...
Because they're on the cusp of winning the division. Like, they won it the year prior to the last season, right? And you got Justin Jefferson. Hopefully you have your star tight end coming back. You got Addison.
Yeah, the offense is set up for sure.
Yeah, you got Chandler. It seems like they're top running back at the moment. I'm sure they're going to go after someone else.
They'll
as
probably
well.
add. Yeah, there's a lot of good free agent running backs this year. So
like, I feel like their window is now.
Yeah, but they're young. They're good players. Are young on the offensive side. Jefferson,
but I don't.
Addison.
I feel like Minnesota doesn't want to
I feel like they're
draft the QB and develop him. I feel like they need someone to go in there and just start slinging it.
Yeah, well, that's what they always do. That's why they always compete. But I do think that the fan base is ready for a new young guy. Like, they want to draft somebody and have it be their own. And the team is never usually bad enough to draft in that the area of the draft where you get those top quarterbacks, picks 1, 2, 3. They're always like the worst they've ever been in the last 20 years is like pick 10, 11. And so at that point, you're not getting those franchise changing quarterbacks anymore because they're already gone. So, it's this is in one way, this is maybe the year to try and move up, be aggressive, and strike while you're within striking distance, where you won't have to give up so many assets to get up to that Jaden Daniels, Drake May area of the draft. But it takes two to tango, and are any of those top teams willing to even consider a trade down? That's the problem.
Yeah, going to be a very interesting offseason and draft. Yeah,
Yeah,
very much
I'm
looking
excited.
forward to it.
I'm excited for the draft. It's gonna be a fun one for sure.
And I feel like this offseason in general, I'm very I haven't been this excited because there's going to be some dominoes, and once that first one falls,
big dominoes for sure.
Yeah. So, in other NFL news, we got Jason Kelsey retiring after 13 seasons.
Yeah. So here's a thought on that. What happens to the tush push? Does all of a sudden that become less effective for Philly? Do they move on from it just because Jalen Hurts has gotten banged up both the last 2 seasons? So maybe they don't want to put their quarterback in that position continuously throughout the season where he gets hurt by the end of the year. Or does the NFL even just straight up ban it? Anyway, none of that matters.
That is so interesting. And the fact that we are talking about the Eagles because they were so close to a Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
And now it just feels like
they're so far.
And also, there's some news and rumors around A.J. Brown.
Oh,
I don't want to speculate on them, but it's like some locker room shit, maybe even some family related shit.
Oh,
And like that just might coincide, if it's true, if there's any truth to those rumors, like just maybe that the Eagles got so close to the Super Bowl, maybe this is the fall starts. Maybe, and Kelsey's gone and your center's gone. Maybe the disappearance of the tush push. Maybe Jalen Hurts takes another step back next year. I don't know.
yeah. Losing AJ Brown would be big for Hurts, because it feels like that was what changed how good he was as a player.
So very interesting. And just like the way like Philly like ended the season, like
Well, they crumbled.
I know.
I'm surprised they didn't get rid of that coach, because he lost the room, obviously, right? Like, that team stopped trying.
They started so good.
Yeah. Well, they just picked up right where they left off.
Were they like 10-1 at one point?
It had to be close. If they weren't, they were close to that.
And then just classic crumble.
The collapse. Classic
Yeah.
collapse.
Yeah. Anyways, keeping it football before we move on to another league. Just want to let a few listeners know that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and your co-host won a bunch of moolah.
Your co-host did not, but but I don't really bet on sports that much anymore, so it's not my bad. But yeah, you did well.
I didn't hit on any long-term division bets. I try and got this pipe dream of winning 100K. On a season in the NFL, picking some division winners. But yeah, I got the Chiefs for 7-1 in October. So early in the season, it might have been right at the beginning of the season. I can't quite remember, but back to back betting on Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, and I'm seriously thinking about it last month. I might throw again on the Chiefs, because it just feels like a worthy investment. It hasn't let me down yet.
Yeah, well, as long as you don't put as much down as you want, then I guess it doesn't matter.
Right now, Chiefs are 8-1.
Yeah.
So like even a little more premium than my 7-1 that I got, and I feel like it's a worthy investment, because I see what Mr. Veach.
If they lose Chris Jones, then all bets are off on that one. That's what I got to say, because their defense definitely carried the team this year.
I see what GM Veach is doing. So they just tagged Snead. At the draft, they're probably just going to draft a wide receiver in the first round at the end of the first.
Yeah, they probably should.
It's a heavy,
there should be some good ones there.
It's a heavy wide receiver class, and I feel like they are going to keep Chris Jones. I feel like Veach is going to make that a priority, and that's the winning formula, I think. Snead,
he's a stud.
Snead, Chris Jones, Spagnolia operating that defense. They were sixth best defense. If they can keep that level of defense next year, or even improve,
yeah, the defense was really good this year.
You have the best quarterback in the world throwing the ball.
Yeah. Just get some receivers that can catch.
Yeah.
They let MVS go already.
Yes, they let MVS go.
Oh, did you hear that news about Hardman. He possibly was giving away Jets game plans ahead of games while he was a member of the New York Jets.
I saw a little article regarding that. I was thinking to myself, like, how much truth is there to this?
Yeah, well, if there is any truth to it, it's massive, because that's like, with all the money that goes into gambling and stuff on these games, like, that could be huge. That could be like grounds for like complete banning for life, like, from the league, if he did that.
It's gonna be interesting. Is he on the Chiefs next year?
I think he's a free agent right now, but I'm not sure. I'm not even sure.
That Chiefs-Jets game next year could get interesting.
If they have one, yeah.
Yeah. I guess sticking with football, what did you see at the Combine that you liked, Miller?
I didn't go too hard on the Combine this year. Like I have in the past. But I know, like, the some of the speed on display in the 40, but this year was super impressive. Obviously, Worthy set the all-time record for the 40-yard dash, 4.21. There is another guy who's at 4.22, I believe. I don't know the name off the top of my
You're
head.
talking John Ross.
No, John Ross, but somebody else was right there this year as well.
Oh, you know what? Wasn't it Xavier Worthy? And then he did it again and got the 4.21?
He had 4.25, and then he got 4.22 was the unofficial, and 4.21 was the official.
Ah.
Yeah, but yeah. There were the receivers. Like there's the top three. It's kind of like consensus. Dunze, Neighbors, and Harrison, and then after that, there's a glut of receivers, and not anyone did a lot to really separate themselves. It was more like it just muddied the waters even more with all these guys that are all really good and they all showed well. So, Lad McConkey apparently looks like a nice, like he could end up being a really good player. And a few guys, Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, I still think it could be a deep wide receiver class.
Yeah, I think it will be. Yeah, and quarterback.
Yes, and quarterback. Speaking of quarterbacks at the combine, Drake May showing up, like putting some meat on his body. Like
McCarthy too.
To be honest, I really like Drake May going into the combine and stuff, and the end of last season.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see who scoops him up.
I have to think that if Caleb goes 1 to Chicago as expected, I have to think that Washington goes Drake May at 2. I think that's almost, I don't want to say it's set in stone, but that's kind of been the way it's been for a really long time, and I think that's how it ends up.
I think like going to the Commanders, it's going to be McDaniels or Drake May.
Yeah.
And then you have the Patriots grabbing whoever's left.
Right, yeah. Or trading back.
I don't know if that's a good idea, Pats.
Well, they got a lot of holes.
Unless they want to give Mac Jones another chance.
No, I'm not saying Mac Jones. They go get somebody else. Go get a veteran. Go get Russ. Go get somebody else.
Russell Wilson in a Pats uniform.
Yeah, that'd be weird, eh? Yeah, that'd be a weird one. But
Russ and Belichick?
No Belichick. Belichick's gone.
Damn, that is right.
Yeah.
They almost forced him out.
Yeah,
it's so weird to think.
I
and
know.
Talk about it.
I know. Gerard Mayo, right, is now the coach.
That's right, Mayo.
So they could be going in a totally new direction.
We don't really know.
They got lots of holes to fill because Belichick is a horrible GM. And he just made the team overperform year after year because he was a good coach, but he wasn't a good GM. So they got lots of holes to fill. So I'm thinking they trade out of 3. And so that's why my theory was whoever lands Kirk between Atlanta and Minnesota, the loser of the Kirk sweepstakes trades up to 3 with New England and drafts the leftover of Drake May or Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, Chargers hold the 5th pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
right?
that's another trade spot, potentially.
Yeah, because they got a new coach coming in, Harbaugh.
Yeah, Harbaugh.
And I've seen a mock with the Chargers drafting Brock Bowers.
Yeah,
because
he's one. Yeah.
Because how are you going to get past the Chiefs in the division? Are you going to try and one-up the Chiefs? Grab the star tight end, right? You got new coach coming in. You got a quarterback in sling. I could see them grabbing Brock.
And Harbaugh would be able. He would like that because they like to run the ball, and Bowers can block on top of being a good pass catcher. So that does seem like a nice fit. But
or they move back, like you said. Maybe they get an offer.
I was just gonna say because paying a tight end at first-round draft pick 5 money doesn't make a lot of sense. Like if you're getting into the analytics of it. And so trading back and drafting Brock Bowers maybe at pick 11 where the Vikings are or something like that makes way more sense as far as like what you have to pay the guy because of his draft status. And so moving back and still taking the same guy makes a lot more sense.
Does that matter if you move back 6 picks?
Yeah, oh yeah, because they pay based on slot, like on
Okay,
the
so
draft.
top 5?
Yeah, top 5 money, right? So you only want to be drafting quarterbacks, maybe like a stud offensive line, like a tackle offensive lineman, or a D lineman, like an edge rusher. But if you draft, like if you move some of those non-premium positions up to that point in the draft, you're going to be overpaying them because you're going to be paying them like a really good player in another position. So
Interesting. I never thought of it from that angle.
yeah, I just started thinking about that because I read an article that mentioned that's overpaying for a tight end like Atlanta is doing right now with Pitts doesn't make sense because now when Pitts is up for contract renewal, they're gonna have to pay him big, like it has to go up big time, and he really hasn't necessarily earned that, but it's gonna be his right, sort of like. Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah.
And you're already paying Herbert a ton of money, right? So the Chargers got to kind of be weary of that going forward.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. But so the Chargers, I mean, if they don't go O-line at that pick, at O-line, or maybe a wide receiver if they want to, because they got those big guys that they need to pay a lot, but they could probably cut them.
Don't forget about their wide receivers. I think a couple of them are free agents too.
I don't. Are they? Keenan Allen for sure is under contract. I think Mike Williams.
I think it's Mike Williams. He's going to be.
He might be. They might not owe him any money, but he's under contract, so they could cut him. I don't know. I thought he was owed a lot of money this year if he plays.
I don't know the exact all the contract situation there, but I do know. I feel like there is going to be some changes there.
Yeah. So, but they would be primed for that for sure. And so it would make sense for them to grab a Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison. If Marvin Harrison fell to them there, I mean, that would be amazing.
If they grabbed Harrison there, that would be a splash.
You gotta figure Arizona takes Harrison if
that's true. I see so many mocks with Arizona sticking to their Kyler Murray and grabbing Harrison.
Well, because it usually goes quarterback, and then Marvin Harrison is the next guy, right? So it's just default Arizona,
and also.
Arizona could definitely use some O-line help. So,
do we know the status of Marquise Brown's
he's
contract?
out. I think he's out there. Like they'll draft
so
Harrison.
they drafted Michael Wilson last draft.
Yeah.
So they don't. And they got
He's not.
They got that other receiver there. What's his name? Hasn't really
Moore.
Moore
is nothing.
Yeah, he hasn't really lived up to
he's
expectations.
No, not at all.
So they kind of need an alpha.
A receiver.
Yeah.
They do need a receiver.
To pair because they're tight ends basically. They're alpha.
Yeah, McBride, right?
He went off last year. Everybody's forgetting about McBride. It's all
Sam
Laporta.
They had nobody to throw to, so they had to throw it to him. Like if they get Marvin Harrison, McBride's stock is gonna go. Pew!
But his touchdown upside.
Yeah, no, but he's still a good player. Don't get me wrong. Like he'll be the second option, or if they get another receiver, maybe a third option. But yeah, he'll still be good. But McBride was elevated last year because they just had no one to throw to.
I seen a mock draft with Buffalo getting Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, I mean, whether Diggs is starting to decline. Or maybe he was a little banged up at the end of the year. Or maybe he's just being weird, which is also a possibility. Yeah, it's a weird situation, and I don't think anyone really has much of a handle on it, other than the people that are involved with it.
Gabe Davis is a free agent, so
yeah. I mean, it sounds like he might just get more money on the open market than Buffalo's willing to pay him. So
yeah, and Gabe Davis hasn't done much the last season and a half or 2 seasons
with Josh Allen as his quarterback. So
yeah, but if they went after Worthy, I guess him paired with Diggs could be and Dalton Kincaid in the middle.
Yeah. I like that.
That could be interesting because they're trying to get over that hump with
and
Josh Allen.
Shakir.
They can't quite get to the dance.
Yeah. Hopefully they didn't miss their window. It's starting to feel that way.
It'll be one of those bittersweet things when we're maybe older and looking back. Like Josh Allen's such a great talent, but just couldn't get past the Chiefs.
Get past Mahomes, Mahomes and the Chiefs, yeah.
I guess we should move to another league. You want to talk some NBA?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Timberwolves, #1 baby.
Your team.
Yeah, finally, actually good. It's amazing. It's almost a weird feeling nitpicking a really good team than it is just complaining about how they they're good but never get any respect and they can't beat anyone.
You love the T-Wolves. Like, you've been a fan for
Oh yeah,
since you're a kid,
a
right?
long well since in their existence. I mean, I wasn't a diehard fan like initially when I was a kid, but they were always my team. But there was never really anything to cheer about. Kevin Garnett.
But that's what I mean. Like, you've been following them for
Right.
20
Yeah.
plus?
For a long time. Yeah. Kevin Garnett was the bright shining player, and his best team in 2003, I think it was their shining moment, where they had Spreewell and Sam Cassell, and they made a run to the Western Conference Finals. But that was it. Then Spreewell needed to feed his family and rejected the Timberwolves offer the following year, and he never played in the NBA again after he was offered a nice contract.
Didn't you go see a T-Wolves game
I've been to a couple.
like this season?
I was going to. I didn't end up. The timing didn't work. I didn't get there in time, so.
I haven't seen any sports games live in Minnesota, but I will get there.
I saw the Vikings Packers the next day. I was trying to catch the Vikings or the Timberwolves Lakers was the night before, and that was actually a crazy game. That was the night that LeBron toe was on the line, and then they complained about the 3-pointer at the end, and they didn't give it to him, and Timberwolves won
snubbed
right at the end. Yeah. But that was the game I was trying to catch, and I couldn't make it.
Shit. Do you think the T-Wolves can make some noise in the playoffs?
I do. I think that they're kind of fading a little bit right now, but I think it's because of lack of focus, because of the young guys, and they're kind of in the dog days of the NBA season, where they've been in first for almost the whole year, and they're just getting bored or lazy. They're being lackadaisical in their preparation, and they're not coming into games the way they need to be with that dog mentality. And so, with teams fighting to either gain playoff positioning or whatever every night, they're bringing their A games against the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves are not finishing. So, I think once the playoffs kick in and you're playing to your 7-game series and it's tough, I think they'll step it back up, and Anthony Edwards will be dialed in, and he's shown at such a young age already that he can dial his game up when the playoffs are on, and he just steps up, and it's fun to watch.
I've got, because of your T-Wolf love and proximity, like how close we are to the T-Wolves, I got a little futures ticket. I got the T-Wolves to win the NBA, and I got Vegas to repeat in the NHL. $7 paying 2 G's. Just a stupid long shot, But it's there.
Yeah. No, I love it, because I think an NBA Finals of Timberwolves and Celtics would be like a 7-game dream matchup. Those two teams have played each other twice this year. Both games went to overtime, with the home team winning on their home court in each matchup. So those two teams would be awesome to watch, and they battle each other. There's respect across the board towards each other. Edwards and Tatum both want to show that they're the man, basically, and it's a dogfight, and it's fun. It's good to watch.
Yeah, I haven't watched too much NBA this season. Me and Miller we're neck and neck in our fantasy league, our NBA.
I may have locked up first place now, I think.
Yeah, he's 1, and I'm 2 right now. I have a lot of injuries right now, so
yeah,
it'll be interesting. The playoffs are just going to be interesting.
I'm starting to get some injuries too, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to take me to the homeland, I think.
But you're on the verge of repeating.
Yeah, and it would be 3 out of 4 years, which
this is a major win.
That's a dynasty if I could win.
No shit, right from the get-go.
Yeah,
with this format.
Right.
Yeah.
In this is the 4th year of the league, and I've won it 2 out of 3. So
we're referring to our Yahoo 10/12 team redraft.
Yeah.
we kind of tinkered with the format the first couple seasons, but we kind of got it locked into where it's fairly competitive. But you've been dominant.
Yeah, no, at first, it was funny because the first year I lost my first week, and I was like, I have no idea how this works. I'm in trouble. I don't know. I'm in trouble. And then I went undefeated the rest of the year.
Yeah, like the record you've compiled over, let's say, 3 seasons here.
It's impressive.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Is this your 4th?
This is the 4th year of the league. Yeah.
I'm in so many leagues, guys. So
No, this is the 4th year of the league. I've won it twice, so 2 out of 3, and my win-loss record is 64-19 overall.
Damn.
That's 771.
You got mine there, Ben?
What's that?
You got my record?
I can. Yeah,
Under,
hold on, I'll check.
Not a big deal.
I can find it. Where are we here? There
Was it
is.
me in the final last year?
No, I beat you in the first round. I was like 8th place last year. Remember? Because I was
I was
complaining.
flying.
Because I had injury all season to my main guys, and so I was complaining about the setup. And then you guys didn't want to change anything, and so I was like, "Fine, I'll beat you at your own game," and I did.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, everything came back to haunt you.
Yeah, I
guys.
remember you getting me and just destroying my season.
Yeah, because you were in first all year, and I was like 8th, and I beat you in the playoffs. So here we go. Your record: 47-32 and 1. One tie.
Is that second place?
It's well, you're in second right now in the league.
No, is that the record though?
Oh, I don't know. I can't.
Oh,
look.
does it
I
have
can't,
everybody
I can't-
else's?
No, I just have to look individually.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have one more. Well, this is our second last week of NBA fantasy, and then playoffs. Big injury for me, Embiid.
Yeah, that's a bad one. He's a top player.
Trae Young, he's got to repair. Is it his arm? Trae Young. Anyways, haven't watched too much basketball this
Should we
year,
move
but
on to hockey?
we could move on to hockey. Yeah, like if we're talking NHL right now, those Jets, man.
Yeah. What a season. This has been super fun to watch this year. I'm stoked for playoffs, personally. Looking forward to the whiteout parties.
Yeah, it feels like it would take a mega collapse right now
Big time.
to fall out of playoff division contention. Playoff.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so it feels good to be a Jet fan right now.
We're in a really good spot too. Like games in hand, we got the points to match for the top seed right now. We look good, and we have looked good as a team too. Like it's not just like maybe not. Other than that Dallas game recently, which we looked horrible, but
It felt like there was a possible Thursday letdown game coming around. I feel Dallas has our number this year.
Dallas does definitely. That's in a matchup we want to avoid. Like that's why the Jets really need to get first, because you avoid that Colorado Dallas. Like whoever ends up in the 2-3 in the Central, that is going to be a tough series.
I totally agree with you. No matter who we play first round, whether it's Vegas, Edmonton, or Kings, I want to say.
Are those just Vancouver's first, and then are you talking about first round matchups?
Like it could be a number of teams.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you're
for
right.
Sure.
What
yeah.
I'm getting to is I don't want to play Dallas.
No, yeah, definitely not Dallas. Dallas, but and avoiding although the Jets have actually played really well against Colorado this year. That is typically a scary matchup, but
typically yes, but they have
they
question
have
marks.
Yeah, they have. But in the playoffs, that Makar and McKinnon are gonna be ready to roll. So
I like the move the Jets made for Monahan. It's paying off.
yeah, big time. He has been a stud.
This is almost so far the best, like right up there with
Trade
pretty
deadline.
damn good with how it has worked out before.
Yeah,
Or worked
trade
out
deadline
so far, is what I'm
move.
saying.
That was a good trade deadline.
Yeah, 'cause we
and
got-
that was pre-trade deadline. So
It was, and there was a lot of risk. There's a bit of risk with Monahan. He just hasn't been healthy the last few years.
over the course of his career, but actually this past year was the most healthy he's ever been. So that's like a good indicator. Sometimes with guys I've seen in careers, they get dinged up every year, but it's always kind of, it's not like career threatening injuries, but it's just like things that end their season, ding, ding, ding. And they just have bad luck. And sometimes it's just a matter of the guy needs to just get in the gym. He needs to work out. He needs to get his body ready for the wear and tear, and to the point where he's finally able to handle it. And I think maybe, hopefully, that's where Monahan is. Like, he's a guy that's kind of slowly built up that his body to the point where he can take the full season.
Yeah, like we've all watched him play Calgary.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Um,
And as a second line center, that's nice. He's a nice.
His third Canadian team, I guess.
Yeah.
What if Monahan? I know we've talked about this off air before. What if he was that like piece to just kind of get the Jets a little further in the playoffs?
Yeah. Well, goaltending is crucial in the playoffs, and the Jets have that. So that is a huge feather in the Jets' cap. Like, just to start, right? Like, so you've got your goaltending, you've got that trade, the Dubois trade is just working out so well for the Jets. Like, Velarde is that piece on that first line that makes it go. He's the glue piece, and then it just elevates the depth now that the Jets have on all their forward lines. Like, the Lowry line is so tough. They're grinding. They're like the perfect playoff line. It's a really well built team.
Yeah, I think, and you probably agree with me here. I think Chevy has another trick up his sleeve.
He could.
I think like it could be like a defender.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's all that they really need at this point.
Just like
the forwards are set.
Just like
I think,
some,
other than barring injury.
Some depth, maybe some experience at like playoff experience. I could
maybe some toughness. They could use some toughness on the D. You're right about that.
Because I don't think he's done. I think he's going to do another move.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about that. So yeah, potentially.
We got what, a week?
Yeah, it's coming. The trade deadline's almost here. So
trade deadline right around the corner, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some interesting pieces like that could be available for trade, like Marc-Andre Fleury, but the Wild are saying that they don't want to trade him.
It's his. Well, no, it's in Marc-Andre Fleury's court because he's got a no trade clause. So, and he said he doesn't want to go anywhere. He said he likes it in Minnesota and he's fine to be in the fight and try to keep going for a playoff push. But I think he probably doesn't want to move his family at this point.
Yeah, I guess he is late in his career.
Yeah. Maybe if it was for a starter's job, but where he's just going to be sharing, or maybe just even a backup role, I think he's like, whatever.
I guess, okay, I don't want to play Dallas in the first round, and if we can avoid it, playing Edmonton right now, I don't want to play Edmonton.
Yeah. Jets haven't done too bad against Edmonton, but just the McDavid factor is a little.
McDavid and Dry.
Yeah.
You got the top two, or
the
like two of the top five.
Yeah,
in the world,
for sure.
Yeah, they're fun to watch. Edmonton.
They are.
I want to be part of their Stanley Cup legacy, or like the first Canadian team to
like
get
the
that
Jets are typically when you talk about Jets playoffs.
Edmonton got us last year, right?
Oh.
Or was it?
No, I don't even remember. You're asking me point blank. Off the cuff.
Or was it Vegas?
Vegas, right? That's who it was. Yeah. Because we beat Vegas, or was that Minnesota?
No, I think it was Vegas. We only won one game, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I'd cheer for both Minnesota and the Jets, and whoever it was beat Vegas in the first game, and then got swept the rest of the way.
But yeah, I don't want to play Dallas. I don't want to. We actually play Dallas one more time, I think, before the season ends. So that'll be a game I'll be watching very closely. They have a great goalie, Orange.
Yeah.
Minnesotan. Stankoven on the come up, like
stanking it up.
Yeah, the stank oven. Which shout out to Stank Oven and my boy KC, because KC, it was his birthday like recently, and it was also Stank Oven's birthday same day, and then Stank Oven got his first goal that day. So very trippy.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, Edmonton Oilers favorite to win the cup right now.
I don't think they're gonna win it. My 2 cents.
A team I'll be watching. I just feel like Boston or the Rangers are just always just there.
Rangers, if
Rangers.
Shesterkin can pull himself together, they could be a tough one.
They have a good decor. They got some forward fire up there.
They got a lot of good players.
They even have the fighter now.
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
rookie, and he's just
And
he's
he
throwing the
keeps,
haymakers.
he fights the big boys. He
Yeah.
fights all the big boys.
Yeah, Ryan Reeves just fought
Yeah.
him the other day, but he gave him mad props.
And who's the guy that was on the Wild? Now he's on the Philly there. Delorier. He fought Delorier, and it was a crazy fight.
I do like the Rangers. Last year, I had a couple futures bets with the Rangers to win the cup. But
Like an idiot.
they disappointed. They disappointed.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Jets play. They host Seattle Kraken tomorrow, and we play
Should
it.
be a-
We
should
play
be a
them,
win.
and we play them on Friday in
Oh.
their barn.
Fun. Those back-to-backs are always weird.
We've had a few of like this with Seattle. I've noticed, like back-to-back games, with those said teams. But I don't know, man. I'm feeling good about.
Yeah.
If Edmonton can beat Seattle, which they just did, like why can't the Jets?
Well,
Let's do it, boys.
2 different teams. The matchups can be different, but yeah, the Jets have been doing great all season. I don't worry about any matchup like on a nightly basis. I just am interested to see the outcome because they've been doing so well. And I feel like even against the good teams, it's been more positive than negative. So
Yeah,
bring them on.
the only game that really stands is that
The
Dallas
recent
game.
Dallas one,
Yeah,
yeah.
go
But
down
other than that, they've been good.
3-0. Go down 3-0 in the first period. Yeah, it's a hard one to come back to. But speaking of coming back, like Saturday, a daytime game on the East Coast, down 3-0 against Carolina.
Right.
5 unanswered goals.
Boom, boom, boom.
Down Sunday on the road in Buffalo, down 2-1.
Yeah.
Win 5-2.
They look good too.
It's like our third period is our best period right now.
Mm.
If we can play like be potting goals like we're potting in the third period right now, they're stacking third period goals. Do that in the first period.
Yeah.
We're going to be a
Anyway.
dangerous team.
We should probably call this an episode.
Do you want to touch on any baseball?
I don't know. You do, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll touch on baseball next week.
All right. Well, be excellent to each other.
Listen to some good music. Peace. Later, guys. See you soon.